Well, what a shocker. Another one possession game for the Tar Heels. I'm still shaking.
This is Tyler Hansbrough, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Saturday, February 8th, 2025. Welcome into this live postcast edition of the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. Thanks for joining me live post-game to unpack Carolina's nail-biting win over Pitt on Saturday. Thanks so much for making us your first listener watch post-game. Special shout-out to the everydayers joining us, and of course, all the great members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord and our Locked On Tar Heels insiders. It's good to be together. Oh, man. Carolina wins 67-66 over Pitt. The Tar Heels moved to 14-10 on the season, 7-5 overall in ACC play. Ken Palm has already updated. The Tar Heels are 41st at Ken Palm. This is a Q2 win for the Tar Heels. And, man, that's so good. You were looking ahead to this weekend, Saturday against Pitt, Monday at Clemson. Love to get both of them, but you needed to at least get one, and you get the one at home against Pitt. This is big time for the Tar Heels. It is no therapy session today. Thank goodness. The Tar Heels, remember, had lost 4 of their last 5, and the only win was Boston College, so we will take this one. It is a victory celebration, not a therapy session, but it's also kind of just a massive, sigh of relief, but the Heels get it done when it mattered most. Look, it was not pretty. And in a lot of ways, it was a mirror of the first matchup. It's just that Carolina pulled this one off. But this is a game of 2 wildly desperate teams, both sitting on the bubble, along with a couple other ACC teams like SMU and Wake Forest. And so Carolina to get this win is massive. There's a whole bunch to unpack from this game. Several things about individual players. Van Allen Lubin, what a game. RJ Davis, Ian Jackson go scoreless, all of that kind of stuff. But what I want to do, I don't typically do this, but I feel like there was so much that happened in the final 90 seconds of this game that I just want to start by actually unpacking all that to kind of wrap our brains around what just happened, and then we'll get down into the rest of it. So, because, man, let's call where things were at. Jalen Lowe hits a layup to put up Pitt 66-65 with 2:20 to go. Van Allen Lubin misses on the other end. Pitt has the ball, and it looks like they're going to have a wide open dunk or layup. And that's where I want to start, right here with Carolina down 65-66, looking like it's right about to be 68-65. And this is what has happened in a lot of these games. Coming down these one-possession games that Carolina has played so many of, I think this is now the most the Tar Heels have ever played in a single season. But it's like what's happened in all the ones that Carolina's lost is there's been a possession or two in the final 2 minutes where the Tar Heels haven't been able to convert offensively while the other team continues to do so. So it looks like Pitt's about to get this next bucket. Diaz Graham has an inside look to, I think it was Cam Corrin, if I remember correctly. I haven't gone back to watch it yet. And who's there but Drake Powell to tip it away? That is going to be one of the more overlooked and forgotten about plays of this game. But if Pitt goes up 3 with a minute and a half to go, I don't know that we're sitting here winners on Saturday. So that's great news. And then on the other end, Carolina immediately follows up by taking a lead. It's the last points of the game. And I got to say, this is RJ Davis is the one that cans it. It's a mid-range fall away, end of shot clock jumper. And it's a shot that last year, without hesitation, I'm like, oh, RJ's got that. It's going in. This year, that's a shot that hasn't fallen as regularly for RJ. But the dude comes up in a massive way. This was a big game for him. We'll get to that in a little bit. But then we go to the other end. Pitt has the ball down 67-66. That possession starts with 51 seconds left. Interestingly, I thought this was a great move for Carolina. They start with Drake Powell on Jalen Lowe. I liked that. Ish Leggett winds up with the ball. There's a loose ball, and I'm like, oh, get the ball. But they can't. Heels can't get it. Jalen Lowe winds up with it. Seth Trimble has some really, really nice defense on him, forces Lowe to take a tough shot. Van Allen Lubin has the rebound, and it looks like he gets hit in the head. If you go back and watch, he's kind of holding the side of his head. Consequently, he loses the ball, and Jalen Lowe ends up with it again. And here's where Carolina catches a break. When Jalen Lowe gets that offensive rebound, there's about 25, 24 seconds left. The shot clock resets to 20. Remember, it doesn't go all the way back to 30. It resets to 20. But if Lowe pulls that ball out, I don't remember if Pitt had any timeouts left or not there, but if he pulls it out, they can basically run the clock all the way down and take a final shot with 6 seconds left on the game clock. If they hit, that puts Carolina in a world of hurt. But he doesn't. And if he has a good shot, yes, you definitely go back up there. But he has to take a weird off balance, like double clutch side of his body shot, and it misses. That is a massive break from the Tar Heels. Ven-Allen Lubin is able to, he realizes what's going on, takes his hand off his head where he got hit, grabs this rebound, wisely tries to get it over, I forget who was right in front of him, maybe RJ, maybe Elliot, but can't, and is fouled. And this is another key thing that happened right there down the stretch, because who is it that has to foul him? Jalen Lowe. That's foul number 5. And I think 4 of those were all in the second half. So the dude that I fear the most from Pitt is now on the bench for what's going to be the final seconds of this game. That is phenomenal. So Carolina goes down to the other end. They're up 1. Ven-Allen Lubin to the free throw line, where Carolina has not been great in the second half. We'll get to that in a minute. And has a 1-and-1. Misses the front end. And of course, this is how all these games end this year. Carolina has a shot to seal it, and they can't do it. But Ven, with his 4 fouls, by the way, sees Diaz-Graham kind of holding the ball off to the side, so he knocks it out of his hand. Diaz-Graham recovers, and he knocks it out of bounds pretty clearly and evidently. Carolina ball. And you're feeling good. It's like, oh, yes. Now you draw up a play. There's 18 seconds left, and you either get RJ or Seth the ball because they're money at the free throw line. Seth has been so good in late game scenarios. Remember, against Stanford, he had the go-ahead shot for Carolina just ahead of Stanford's game winner. In Boston College, he had several, a couple free throws and another bucket late to give Carolina the lead and ultimately the win. And so Seth is the one that gets fouled, goes to the free throw line for a 1-and-1. And I'm like, all right, Carolina's not been great at the line this half, but it's Seth. He's 84% this season, and he misses. Another front end missed. And Pitt gets this one. So Pitt calls timeout, inbounds the ball with 13 seconds left. And this was so reminiscent of the Boston College. Did it feel like that to you, where they're trying to get it in from the side they can't because Drake Powell? Well, in this scenario, they don't have any timeouts left, so they've got to inbound it. Ven-Allen Lubin has almost another crazy moment in this game. He kind of tips it away, or at least causes some issue. Seth is almost able to recover it himself. But he can't. He dives after it twice. Drake Powell's almost able to recover it, but he kind of boots it out of bounds. Pitt ball in the backcourt, 7 seconds to go. And this is the moment that reminds you so much of, yes, it's sideline instead of baseline, but this is almost identical to the scenario Carolina was in against Stanford. Thankfully, there's no Jalen Lowe. That was why that was so critical. And Ish Leggett has it. He does not straight line drive. And that's what Carolina did better than they did against Stanford, is they force him to move around. Drake Powell starts off with defense on him, and then Elliot Cadeau, yet again. We went back through and looked at this recently, I did, and Elliot Cadeau on all these one-possession games at the end of these games, almost without fail, it's Elliot as the defender on the man with the ball. I think for example, he was the main defender in the NC State game that allowed Jay Wash to come over and get that swat. So Elliot stays on Leggett, stays right to him, stays upright. Leggett tries to initiate contact. It bumps back Cadeau. I thought it was a good no call, right? Because I wouldn't have called an offensive foul there, but I would have been very frustrated if they had called a defensive foul, like has happened to Carolina in some other moments. They don't. Leggett misses when it went out of his hand, I was like, oh no. I thought it was going to just jump over the front edge of the rim. Thankfully it doesn't, and Carolina escapes. Great no call. And what a wild final 90 seconds of this game. It was insane. Yes, it was not a great game from Carolina. They gave up a lot of stuff, but ultimately won it and brought that back. And that's what needed to happen. Let's talk Ven-Allen Lubin. Pitt starts the game with a 3. I think it was Lowe that hits it. Seth Trimble comes down and answers with a 3 on Carolina's next possession. From that moment, Van Allen Lubin goes on a 9-0 run, not just like 9 straight for Carolina, like the only 9 points scored by either team in that stretch to give Carolina in totality a 12-0 run, to give a 12-3 lead. And it's like, I need to go back and look at it. Well, I'll have this ready for Monday's show, but I believe multiple of the like buckets were assists from different guys. I know Seth had one. RJ had a really nice assist. I think Elliot had one. Elliot's assist, by the way, to Van Allen Lubin for that and one attempt. He missed the free throw, but that little over the top late, boy, that was beautiful. I don't know how, man, that was gutsy. I'll tell you that right now. But Van Allen Lubin, man, what a game. Carolina high for scoring. His previous high was 13. That was the Stanford game. He has 17 in this one, 8 of 12 from the field, and other important plays that he had as well, such as knocking that ball away from Diaz Graham, such as deflecting things on that last Pitt crazy sequence there. And so there's a couple others too. He had a nice block early in the game, but just Van Allen Lubin, man, I was just so happy for him. And interesting that Coach Davis stuck with that same starting lineup we've seen recently of Elliot, RJ, Ian, Seth, and Van Allen Lubin. Jalen Washington didn't come back into the starting lineup. Drake Powell didn't come back into the starting lineup either. So there we go. But man, it was obvious that Carolina was like, let's get all these Pitt switches because they're going to keep switching 1 to 5, meaning they're going to switch every screen, whether it's a point guard or center or anyone in between. And Carolina worked very intentionally early to get mismatches for Van Allen in the post, and he exploited them. Great job. Now, Pitt answered by eventually stopping doing that. They didn't switch 1 through 5 anymore, but I thought Carolina did a great job taking advantage of that while Pitt was continuing to do it. Another thing that Carolina did very well in this game, a nice change, a reminder. 2 games ago, 11 days ago when Carolina played Pitt, 14 turnovers for the Tar Heels, and Pitt scored 22 points off of turnovers. Now, I know not all of those are live ball variety, but still, that's a lot of points off turnovers and a lot of turnovers. Against Duke last Saturday, it was 14 turnovers, and I think they had 19 points off of those turnovers, if I remember correctly. That's 28 turnovers and 41 points off in the last 2 games. Today, really, really good job by Carolina. You might not have realized this yet, but go look at the box score. I don't have it pulled up yet for us. I'll do that after the first break. But Carolina, in this game, just 6 total turnovers for the Tar Heels. Elliot Cadeau committed 3 of them, but he had 7 assists. We can live with that. That's a more than 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. Really, really important job for the Tar Heels to do well in that regard in this game. And Pitt only had 6 points off of those 6 turnovers. So really nice for Carolina to do that. Now, another area Carolina was really good was at the 3-point line. We're going to talk about that. We're going to get to some issues from the first half, some issues at the free throw line, all that coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about Prize Picks. The big game is almost here. It's tomorrow. And there's no better way to make it even more exciting than with Prize Picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. With over 10 million members and billions in winnings awarded, Prize Picks makes it fun and simple to get in on the action. Here's how it works. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players' stat projections. And if you're right, you could win up to 1,000 times your cash. Prize Picks even has a free pick for the big game tomorrow where Patrick Holmes just needs to throw 1 yard for you to win. Pair that with 1 more correct pick and you're cashing out. So you could pair it with Saquon Barkley. He just needs a rushing touchdown because his touchdowns, receiving and rushing combined, is set at 0.5. Easy money for you. Combine that with Mahomes, you're good to go. So check out the promos tab. Man, get things squared away, fast, safe withdrawals, and when you win, your cash is in your account in as little as 15 minutes. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Where I want to go next is the 3-point line. Carolina was very efficient from 3 in this game, nearly shooting 50%. It was the 3rd highest 3-point percentage they've had in a single game this entire season. Carolina finishes 7 of 15. And there's 2 different things I want to say about Carolina's 3-point shooting in this game. Number 1, they shot well. 46.7%, which again, as I said, is the 3rd highest of the season. and multiple people contributed to that. I think Carolina was 3 of their first 3, if I remember correct, Seth, and then 2 from RJ. But also, not only were they efficient from 3, but they also shot the right amount of threes. Carolina took just 15 attempts and made 7 of them. This team is just not a great 3-point shooting team. They're like 32% on the season, but they shoot quite well, thank you very much, from 2. And that's where Carolina needs to be going. In fact, if you'll bear with me, I could tell you Carolina's 2-point percentage season long, it is 55.4%. That's 67th in the nation, while they're 273rd from 3. So minimizing those threes, getting good looks at 3 is a win, as is minimizing how many of them you take. All right, let's flip now and talk about some of the unsavory, and then we'll get to some of the individual players who were really good in this game. I talked about this in some ways being a mirror of the first matchup just 11 days ago up in Pitt at the Peterson Event Center. And that's what it was. Where's my baseball? I need my baseball because things are going to get feisty here. First half, Carolina gets out to this great lead, man, and I'm so encouraged, just like the game at Pitt. Carolina builds an 11-point lead on 2 different occasions in the first half, and that is really what we're looking for. Where are those moments? They were up 26-15, and then later 30-19. The problem is that once again, they let Pitt back in the game. And it's not so coincidental that when Carolina was up 26-15, Elliot Cadeau picks up his second foul. From that point, Pitt goes on a 17-6 run to tie the game at 32. From there, Carolina scores the final 3 points of the half. So, from when Elliot Cadeau has to go out, yes, he came back in for a possession or 2 down the stretch. But from that moment, Pitt went on a 17-9 run to close the first half. And yet again, Carolina has to have their point guard in the game. Elliot committing these fouls. And I know there was that one that it was like, I don't know, was that really a foul on Diaz-Graham? But it was like almost a half court, and he's out there committing a foul on a big guy. Just don't risk it, man. That was like 8 minutes to go still in the game. In the first half. This is not a wise investment of a foul from Elliot Cadeau. If he was fouling for, getting something helpful for Carolina, maybe, but even then it would have been his second foul of the half. And this team needs their point guard on the floor to distribute. And he wasn't, and Pitt was able to make some hay there. Similarly, Van Allen Lubin a couple minutes later picked up his second foul and had to go to the bench. But it was just an issue for Carolina. And then obviously, as we know, early in the second half, then Pitt picks up the lead 39-37, and then it's just a back and forth affair the whole rest of the game. So I don't know if it's specific to Elliott. I don't know if there are other things, but man, these Tar Heels simply cannot continue to do this in the first half. And it's such a change from the early part of the season where they were down double digits in the first half of so many games, as we talked about over and over and over and over again. But now, how many times in the past 5, 6, 7, 8 games has Carolina held not only a lead, but a double-digit lead in the first half and let the other team come roaring back? And that's exactly what happened. Pitt is able to cut it down from 11-point deficit to just being within a single possession by the time they got to halftime. That's just not going to work. If Carolina has any hope of going to win at Clemson Monday night or kind of running the table, which it's going to take before they host Duke to end the regular season, just got to figure out ways to fix that. Another bugaboo I want to get to is the free throw line, which, we talked about. Carolina in the first 16 games of the season was averaging about 24 free throw attempts a game. In the 7 games since, Carolina has dropped off to 15. It's like 15.9 free throw attempts per game. In the previous game against Pitt, we talked about this. Carolina had just 9 free throw attempts, made 6 of them. Today, they had more attempts, but it was right on that average of that lower average they've been. So now it's 8 games averaging about 15 free throws a game because they took exactly 15 free throws a game. And oh man, don't we wish it had been 17 had the Tar Heels not missed the 2 front ends of 1-and-1 there in the final 20 seconds of the game. Oh, it's so painful. Carolina in the first half didn't get many attempts, but they knocked down 4 out of 5 of them. meaning if we put this all together in the second half, the Tar Heels were just 4 of 10 at the free throw line. Left a whole bunch of them out there. And then in the closing 20 seconds, as I just said, both Van Allen Lubin and Seth Trimble missed those front ends of 1-and-1. And man, that hurts so bad. And it just that it's those little things that put you in scenarios and situations like the Tar Heels are in right now, where they're just having to find some sort of way to win these close games. All right, let's get back to some happy things. RJ Davis, we've already identified Van Allen Lubin. Probably, it's either Van Allen or RJ for MVP of this game for the Tar Heels. But RJ in this game, up over 2,500 points for his career now. Big congrats to RJ. He continues to move up the ACC list. It's not looking at all like he's going to come close to catching Tyler Hansbrough, which is still just bonkers. Everything Tyler did in 4 years. Here's the biggest thing for me that we need to see about RJ is that this 3-point shot is coming along, man. We detailed it yesterday. Coach Rob and I did on Friday's show that in the last 5 games, RJ is 13 of 31 from 3, which is 41.9%. Today, he keeps that moving up. He went 3 of 5 from 3, meaning that now in the last 6 games, he's 16 of 36, which is a scorching 44.4%. 44.4% for RJ in the last 6 games. I mean, that is absolutely in fuego. If you'll bear with me really quick in real time here, I can tell you what this moves him to on the season now, 31.7. And I know that's not great, but let's remember, not to before this stretch, I can even tell you what he was before this 6-game stretch. 28%. So he's bumped it up almost 4 percentage points just in the last 6 games with what he's been doing, man. RJ is finding his rhythm. He's settling in, and that's so important for Carolina if they're going to make a push late. 2 other players I want to mention here. One is Seth Trimble. You know, they really only mention we've had of Seth so far is missing the front end of the 1-and-1. And I don't want to single him out as like that's the only thing we talk about him for this game, because Seth had a great game all around in this thing. 15 points on 6 of 13 shooting, 2 of 5 from 3. Here's what you need to know. This is the first time since coming back from his injury that Seth has hit multiple threes in the same game. Yet again, he did not get a double-double in this game. He's done that multiple times lately, which is still bonkers to me. But he did, yet again, lead the team in rebounds. He had 7. The next most was Van Allen Lubin's 4. We'll take it. We'll take it from Seth. Not as many assists as you see sometimes from him, just 1, and did have two turnovers. But I just thought he was really important. His defense on Jalen Lowe at times was really important, and I just very, very good from him. And all told, Carolina, Lowe had 15 points, but he needed 15 shots to get there. I can live with that. Ish Leggett, limited, just 3 of 10 from the floor for 9 points. Really, really good stuff on limiting those guys efficiently, right? They got points, but they needed a whole bunch of shots to do it. And Seth Trimble, as always, is a big part of doing that. And so really, really happy for Seth and what he was able to bring to the team in this game. And then the other player I want to point out, and this was like the shocker to me, Ian Jackson, over, didn't score a single point. First time in his Carolina career. He was 0 of 3 in this game. I'm on the Pitt score side of things. 0 of 3 in this game. 0 of 1 from the 3-point line. And that was an ugly shot. I mean, it was an air ball. But he did, to Ian's credit, 2 rebounds, had 3 assists, just 1 turnover, and had a steal. So didn't contribute literally anything from the floor, but was out there distributing some. And only turning it over once, those kind of things are critical. Similarly, Jalen Washington didn't really contribute much in this game. 2 points, both of which were at the free throw line. He was 2 of 4 from there. 3 boards and no turnovers. That's important because he's been one of the biggest culprits of the turnovers, and had a nice block coming across the lane. It reminded me a lot, by the way, of that NC State block. And so that was good and important from Jalen Washington. Nice to see that coach trusted James Brown to bring him in a game when Van Allen picked up his 4th foul, but just north of midway through the second half. So that was interesting and intriguing as well. What did Pitt shoot as a team in this game? I'm really curious. 42%. They were 47% from three. So decent from Carolina. I mean, did hold them under 70 points. You like that. But 42%, you'd like to maybe get that down, but definitely that 3-point number down. What I liked about what Carolina did is there was some much more intense defense that the Tar Heels played. If I remember correctly, I need to go back and look, but I think Pitt had 3 shot clock violations in this game. And so things like that, it's like, yeah, very good from Carolina. Interestingly, Pitt, who's not a good rebounding team, led the rebounds in this 33-27. That's curious and head scratching. So just some interesting stuff there. Lots to point out. But again, Carolina gets this one. I do want to go over and check what kind of comments and observations you guys have made. And that's where we're going to go next in just a second. Right after I tell you about our good friends at FanDuel. Super Bowl 59 is here. One game, 2 teams, endless possibilities, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, who's going to be the MVP, or even the coin flip, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action. They've got live betting all game long, and with that, you can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to the very final whistle. The live betting feature lets you stay involved no matter what happens on the field, and the app, I love that it's super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing that you can place a $5 bet, and if you win that first bet, you can win $200 in bonus bets. For the Super Bowl, man, that's the icing on the cake. The line for this game, Chiefs favored by 1.5. If they pull that off and win straight up, that will be their 3rd in a row Super Bowl, first ever team to do that. Can they hold that spread and win by at least 2 points? We'll find out. So download the app or head on over to FanDuel.com to get started. Bet just $5, and if you win, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Again, that's FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59. We're pulling up the comments section right now. Let's see what kind of our guy John, I alluded to this earlier. He says, Jonathan Fox says, it may be a win in the W column, which it is. Wait, I just said it may be a W in the win column. That's hilarious. It may be in the W column, but this should still be a therapy session. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a week in between games. There were some things that looked better. I need to go back and look. I thought Carolina had some offensive action that we're not used to seeing, bringing a guard from a corner or a shallow wing to the like a cut to the free throw line to help out a ball handler up top. We saw that kind of action a couple times. We'll continue to work to see what else. But yeah, I mean, in some ways maybe it's a therapy session because we've all got heart palpitations for this. Rob M, what's up, Rob, says, I want so much to see more post touches for Lubin. Can't get into a rhythm without consistent touches. I'm right with you, Rob. I loved Carolina's like sheer desire to get the ball to him early and running good action to make that happen. Like if Pitt's going to switch everything, we're going to exploit it, and exploit it. They did. I loved that. And Van Allen was so consistent in doing that. And it was like when he got into that foul trouble was when Carolina they got away from it a little bit before that, but even more so obviously as he had to sit out the rest of the first half. But this is something I want to see Carolina go back to doing. Maybe we'll see it against Clemson on Monday night when Ian Shefflin, similar to Van Allen Lubin, is a bit of an undersized 5, although he kind of plays the 4 a lot more, right? Because Victor Locken, I believe, plays the 5 more for Clemson. So we'll see what happens. But I like that action. Get Carolina moving. Everyone's looking for the guards, not expecting that. And so we will do for it. So there's that. Okay, let's get back to all your comments and see what else we've got. Man, Derek Tyson makes a great point here. I would have liked to see Elliot Cadeau be more aggressive, but he did make 2 clutch layups in the second half. That was back-to-back possessions. And you guys, I haven't gone back to watch it yet, but that first of those 2 layups he made late went to the left side. I think he used his right hand both times. I know he did the second time. I was on him all year last year about this. But man, that was really good for Elliot. Let me see if I can go back and find when that was. Okay, this was in this phase when things were just going back and forth and back and forth. Drake Powell hits his second big-time 3. Nice from Drake. Had a questionable mid-range shot earlier, but these threes were really good. to give Carolina the lead 56-55. Austin hits another three. I mean, this dude hitting these threes is just killing me. 58-56 lead for Pitt. And then Elliot, here comes that first move on Diaz Graham. It was kind of that step over, walk through, and then finishes on the I mean, it was silly. Then Pitt goes ahead, and then he gets another one on back-to-back possessions on the second, on the other side of the rim. And what was interesting about Elliot's game here is didn't take a ton of shots. He didn't have any points for a long time in this game. Finishes with a very efficient 2 of 3 from the field, those 2 layups, and had one other shot. It was a 3. I think was it a late shot clock 3 he had to get up? I can't really remember in real time. 1 of 2 at the free throw line. He was one of the culprits there. But as I said, 7 assists. He did have 3 turnovers, but I can absolutely take that assist to turnover ratio. I'm trying to remember. I remember 2 of them. There was one where he dribbled it off his foot, just lost it. And there was another one where he tried to bounce past Van Allen Lubin, but it was 2 tight quarters in the lane. Ven couldn't handle it, and Pitt got it. I can't remember the third turnover for Elliot, but, okay, fine. But I'm with you. I liked the aggression on those 2, but would like to see him continue to attack the lane as we've seen at some other times. Melinda Dolphin says, I'll take the win and run with it. That's right. We're going to run straight on down to Clemson. Man, what time are they in Duke already going as we record here in real time? Really curious because Clemson, okay, Duke's up 29-22, 7:10 left in the first half as we record here in real time. Let's remember, Clemson lost in triple overtime to Georgia Tech at home midweek. They're still home today against Duke, and now they're going to be home again against Carolina Monday. I don't like that. We'll talk about that on Monday's show because Monday we got to do more recap of this game, and we got to get ready for Clemson, so we'll get to all of that. All right, guys, I'm sure there's some more questions late, but my family's waiting on me to go somewhere, so I'm going to get out of here. But it's great to be together today. Again, sigh of relief. It's a therapy session in a different sort of way, but it is a celebration because you simply did. Sorry, I just went away there. You won this basketball game, and that's what you needed Carolina to have happen. So, again, as I said, very quick turnaround to playing Clemson Monday night on Big Monday. This is it's an earlier game. No more late games for Carolina. Maybe they will when we get to the ACC tournament, but at least what's left on the schedule, there are no more 9 o'clock tips. I will take that. And as Melinda said, I will take that and run with it. So, guys, if you have not subscribed to the show on YouTube, do that right now. If you've not subscribed to the show on audio, do that right now. But we're so close to our 10-3 goal, 10,000 subscribers in the first 3 years of the show. We're less than 200 away. We got to get there by the end of February. That's 20 days from now. So basically 100 subscribers every 10 days. Help us get there, would you? That would be awesome. Right now, boom, subscribe. If you don't want to miss out on these kind of live moments together, we're going to do this Monday right after the game. Hit that bell notification so that as soon as we go live, you get a notification you can tap right in. If you've not joined the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, we'd love to have you there. It's a great place, great community of hundreds of Tar Heels fans. It's free to join, links in the show notes. If you'd like to go even deeper, join the Locked On Tar Heels Discord where I'm hanging out. The Locked On Tar Heels Insider Program where you get direct access to me. You get access to all my stats and charts and data, box scores, all of that stuff, and many other perks as well. All right, guys. Woo! It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel, even when it's rough and difficult, and we win. We won. We'll talk to you again on Monday to get ready for Clemson, unpack this game for more shady stat of the game, 4 corners recap. All of that will be there. But until then, peace.